guys ready for a fun and informative Nikon 7200 VR2 video? Well, this video is going to be fun and musical and all that. So stick around, we're going to rock and roll. What's good, guys? This is Vahography. I'm Vahagen, your rock and roll photographer. How's everybody doing today? This past weekend was very busy for me. We're doing photo gigs here and there. If you follow me on Instagram, you see what I'm talking about, behind the scenes stuff. Go ahead and follow me, Vahography. You know, if you have an IG, it's at Vahography. So, the VR2 Nikon 7200 zoom lens. I thought I would share a few images I took with the 7200 this past Saturday. It was a party, special occasion, and you know the times we're living in now, a lot of events are happening in customers' backyards. So they set it up all nice, and this party was really cool actually. You had some live music, live bands coming in, the food was excellent, the people were just great. But you never know, as a photographer, you're there to do, you know, what you're paid to do, cover the event, the occasion. But sometimes there are things that happen where you go, wow, you know, you're not doing anything at that second, but you can actually take pictures to benefit your photography or whatever. In this instance, there was an amazing violinist. She was there entertaining the crowd. And I never got her name, but she was excellent. She was a great musician. And I wasn't doing anything at the time, just there setting up. I happened to have my 7200 VR2 lens, and I just took a few shots of her. In this video, we're gonna go through the shots I took, some of the pictures of this violinist doing her thing at this party. However, I'm gonna show you some examples of what you can do not to be afraid of that sunlight, that harsh sunlight coming in from the opposite direction of where you're shooting. I'm going to show you examples of what I mean in this video. So never be afraid to shoot. You see the sun setting the opposite direction of where you're shooting. You could actually use that as a really killer backlight in your pictures. So I will also show you guys how amazing this Nikon lens really is. I never get tired of shooting with it. It's versatile, it's sharp, renders beautiful bokeh, and you know, your 70 to 200 range. What more can you ask for? Yes, I've heard it all with this lens. It's not a true 200 millimeter. I think it registers it at about a 190 millimeter focal range, and there is some focus breathing. Look at these results and judge for yourself. You can find this lens for a bargain right now, you know, especially because the version 3 is out and then you got the Z stuff out. So yeah, you can find this for a really good price. Even the VR1 lens is nice. So this is the VR2, the one I have for my F-mount cameras. So go ahead and roll the images. But before I do, here's a clip of that amazing violin player. Roll it, and then after that we'll get into the images. Rock and roll. So in this first example, I wanted to capture the form of the musician and capture the instrument being played, focus right on the strings, and just have a nice composition to this image. I have the 7200 here at 200 millimeters at 2.8. I wanted as much background blur as I could get. Let's crop this image so you could see I set the focus point right on the strings and where the bow is, and have the focus taper off following her hands. Here's an example of what I mean shooting against the sun with a beautiful backlight. The sun is setting with that nice orange tone. Again, in a perfect world, I would have loved to have these people not in the background, but this is a party. I think it captures the environment. It kind of tells a story of what's going on here. And you can see the flare from the sun. Watch your LCD, make sure the flare is not overpowering the image. Now let's crop this image in a little bit so you could see how well this lens isolates the subject at 2.8. It's sharp at 2.8, and I just love the foreground and the background. Just look how nice it renders. And by the way, this is natural flare from the sun. Nothing was added in post. Here's another similar shot vertically. And let me go ahead and zoom it in so you could see how well this lens does with lens flare and isolation. In this next one, I kind of wanted to change my position and let the sun, instead of having lens flare, fill up her face and the side of her instrument. When you're photographing an artist at an event and you have limited time, never be lazy to move. If you don't like your position, get up, find another angle, and get different angles here. Here's an example. I got up close and I wanted to capture that feeling this violin player had while she was jamming that instrument. And here's one of my favorite images. As you see the orange light, that sun is setting, and just look at the detail of that, what is that, dust on the instrument. And just as the angle changes of the sun, you know things change in your image. You could see that detail. Look at what a job this lens is doing. Here's two examples of what you can do to take some creative shots. On the left, we have the flowers and decoration with her in the background at 2.8. And on the right, you want to incorporate the guests of honor, the reason why you're photographing there in the first place. Incorporate them with the musician somehow. Use your creativity and the lens power, the background blur. All in all, the 7200 VR2 is an amazing lens. Use the backlight to your advantage, and don't be afraid to experiment during special occasions when you're photographing, and just capture the moments and be creative. All right, welcome back. So what did you guys think? Just a little taste of what you can do on your spare time when you're taking a break, or you're not doing anything at the party and you see something that might be of interest in your photography. You can go ahead and take some shots on the side. Just use your creativity, and you never know when you'll be using these shots. You could send these musicians these pictures. They'll thank you for that, and they might refer you work in the future. So take the pictures. You're there. I understand you're there capturing a party for clients, but if you see some singer or some musician or somebody doing their thing, you can capture it, send them the files. And again, part of this video is to show you photographers out there how amazing it can be to shoot against that harsh sun. And, luckily for me, the sun was setting, but you can get some awesome effect. You can get some awesome flare in your lens. It adds that beautiful backlight, adds to your photography. But I suggest you guys look at your LCD sometimes, because once you get that light in your lens, it might just flare the whole image and it might not be too pleasing. So always shoot kind of at an angle and watch the bottom part of your image so it doesn't flare up at the end there, so at the bottom there. So be careful, look at your LCD, make proper adjustments, and just be aware of your focus points, especially for example if I'm photographing a violin player and I want the focus to be on her instrument or her eyes or her face. Just be aware of that. I tend to use single focus point majority of the time. She's moving very fast. and I don't want the camera to pick where the focus should be, especially because I was shooting most of these pictures at 2.8. So you want to have total control of your camera. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you like videos like this and you want more, this is a channel where we talk all things photography. Go ahead and like and subscribe to Vahography. I'll appreciate it very much. And again, my Instagram is at Vahography. Go ahead and follow me there. All right, guys, I'll leave you guys with a few sight and sounds of that party, and we'll catch you on the next video. This is Vahography. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. We'll see you on the next video. Rock and roll. So